Remus was introduced to us, and dealing with intrusive thoughts is yet another part of creativity within Thomas. He is described by Logan and Thomas as being Roman's twin, and yet at the end of the episode, Roman describes it differently.
It's a little like looking into a funhouse mirror, but instead of a giant head or like long legs and a tiny torso, it shows you everything you don't want to be.
This raises the question, are Roman and Remus actually twins, or is it something else entirely? Hi there, my name is Riley, and welcome to my channel. I'm finally back to my theory videos. In this video, I'm discussing something very interesting with our favorite twins, Roman and Remus. So let's get started. If you enjoyed this video, please comment, let me know what you think, and don't forget to like the video. Once the episode was over, people began theorizing about what would happen if Roman and Remus fused back together and became one whole side again. Keen creativity spread through the fandom like crazy, bringing new fanfics and fan art along with it. I loved the idea that maybe we had another side in the fusion aspect, if that was something that would eventually be explored. However, upon rewatching the episode myself and a few older ones, I have a different idea. What if Remus is solely a part of Roman? Now, before you come after me in the comments, hear me out. Logan explained that at some point in Thomas's development as a child, because of his idea of good and bad, creativity split into two parts. It's never clarified exactly how the split happened or how equal or unequal the split was. At best, we get Logan comparing it to an ovum. Kind of an interesting thing to compare it to, considering the female biological aspect of it, but if we do see Remus's creation based out of Roman, since that's definitely how it seems like Logan is explaining it, we can compare it to one of these. Which kind of resembles how an egg splits in the human body, but let's continue. Now, anyone who's been in school, at least the American school system, knows what this is, but in case you don't, this is called a Venn diagram. As defined by the Oxford Dictionary, a Venn diagram is a diagram that shows all possible logical relations between a finite collection of different sets. In this case, one side has all the good, beautiful, kind, and brave ideas of creativity, and the other has all the dark, evil, ugly, dirty, and nasty ideas of creativity, with a small crossover in the center. Obviously, Roman is the light side and good, and Remus is the dark side and bad. The crossover in the middle is their connection, when things bleed over just a little too much to one or the other, causing confusion. One of the first times this happened was in the Sandersized 12 Days of Christmas, when Roman was sinking out, giving Thomas advice about the holidays just as Logan and Patton had done before him. However, Roman's advice seems a bit odd.
May visions of sugar plums dance in your head and hopefully not visions of your naked Aunt Patty. Okay, thanks Roman for that unpleasant side comment. Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't know where that came from.
Thomas chastises him for the comment, and even right after saying it, Roman grimaces a little bit, immediately not liking what he said. He even apologizes to Thomas and admits he had no idea where that came from. I don't know about you, but doesn't that sound a bit like an intrusive thought? This is also basically confirmed to be Remus's idea, considering a sticky note with the words Aunt Patty naked shows up in Remus's introduction song in dealing with intrusive thoughts. Remus had something to do with Roman saying these words, and I think it's because Remus is still intrinsically connected to Roman. If this split happened when Thomas was a child, like Logan explains in the episode, then that means at some point Roman began suppressing the ideas that Thomas didn't like. This is if we go off the idea that Roman was always the original creativity, like Thomas suggests he was when he asks why Roman isn't all-encompassing as creativity. Anyway, the ideas that Thomas said were bad imagination got suppressed by Roman so much that it formed into a completely new side in the process, a side connected and created by both Roman and Thomas suppressing the quote-unquote bad stuff. This is why Roman is so affected by what Remus does or says. Roman and Remus are almost like two sides of the same coin. Now that they're separate sides, they'll never be the same, but they're still connected no matter what. It also explains why Roman says that looking at Remus is like looking at everything you don't want to be. Roman wouldn't want to be anything like Remus, because he wants to make Thomas happy and be needed, but also not to be clingy or make Thomas frustrated with him, like he's done in the past. Remus's dark ideas and need for attention makes him disliked by Thomas, so why would Roman want that back within himself, if that was where it originally belonged? Another way of looking at it could be like the idea of a shadow version of Roman. I'm going to go off on a limb here and figure that most of you haven't heard or played of a little game called Persona 4 Golden. It's okay, this all relates, I swear, so hear me out. In this game, there is a world that calls out to your soul when you're there and brings out a shadow of yourself. It's definitely you for sure, but it's dark, shouting all the things you carry deep within your heart, selfish desires, dirty truths, and things you would never say in real life. It gains its power from you rejecting it. The more you do, the stronger it becomes. Too much rejection and it kills you, becoming you in the process. Now let's connect the dots here. We have a shadow, which is Remus, which looks just like you, in this case Roman, and you keep denying it as a part of you, aka Thomas trying to stop Remus from existing at all. But like Logan points out, you can't stop Remus from doing something. He's going to do it, and just like the shadow, he gets stronger and stronger the more he is denied. In our case, Remus was denied again and again until he began spewing out of control. Eventually, not even Roman could hold him back anymore. I mean, don't you find it interesting that Remus knocked Roman out? He later shares the stage with him at the end of the episode, with no issues, but at the beginning, Remus literally overpowers Roman with no problem and takes his place. Why? I think it's obvious. Thomas had suffered all night long with Virgil and Patton chastising him for having these thoughts. Remus had so much power in this moment, it's not surprising that Remus took over for Roman. Like I said before, they are two sides of the same coin, and by pestering Thomas all night long, and also the fact that Thomas has a lot of issues going on, the coin flip was not in anyone's favor that night, and it landed on Remus's side, so he came out to play. Another reason I feel like they're connected, as in like Roman is the main and Remus is his reflection, is the idea that Remus can actually hurt Roman. Remus first shows up and knocks out Roman with his mace. However, later we learn that Remus doesn't actually have the ability to hurt anyone. He pulls Logan's teeth out and also hit him with the ninja star, but Logan quickly recovers in both scenarios, even if the teeth pulling one took him by surprise. If this is the case, why is Roman so affected by Remus hitting him? My theory is that Remus truly believes he knocked out Roman, then Roman suffers. Roman is unable to convince himself that what Remus did is fake in the way Logan was with the teeth pulling or ninja star. Roman's convinced his head really hurts because Remus is also inside his head telling him that of course it hurts, of course all of this is real, and maybe you should just stay out of it and let me play. Remember, Remus is in control of the intrusive thoughts, making Thomas believe the nasty, inappropriate, and sometimes scary thoughts are real and actually happening, or something he actually physically wants to do in the real world. There's no reason not to believe that Remus could also pull the wool over Roman's eyes, so to speak. Once Remus leaves, Roman is able to get back up no problem. He even clarifies that his head feels fine. Well, that's because Remus is gone. Remus being there was causing Roman to be out of commission because Remus wanted him to be out of the way. As much as it sucks, Remus is mentally stronger than Roman. Remus does what he wants, when he wants, and he isn't afraid to step over any boundaries put on him. Roman is the opposite. He wants to please Thomas, and everyone else for that matter, and in that sense he puts barriers on himself and limits how he sees things. This is definitely true after the events of moving on. Roman knows he pushed too hard in that situation, forcing Thomas to think of every single crazy idea to get back with his ex. He was trying to help, but by the end he realized he was hurting more than helping. Ever since, Roman has tiptoed around Thomas, trying to make sure he does better, but trying not to ever make Thomas feel like that again. And now there's this new problem for Roman. This problem looks just like him, and is everything he doesn't want to be. I feel like someone reached into a mirror Roman was standing in front of and pulled out his reflection, and that's how Remus was formed. With all of this knowledge, I believe that if Remus and Roman were to fuse, the end result would still just be Roman, but this Roman might feel a little more whole, less afraid to stand up for himself and his ideas. Unfortunately, to gain this confidence back, he has to accept Remus as a separate entity now and work with him. Until he does, I think his ability to help Thomas create will be stunted greatly. Roman's got a lot of room to grow, and I think over time it will be possible for him to accept this darker version of himself, especially since I believe Remus was a part of him originally. It will take a lot of dedication on his and Thomas' part, but I think it can happen. And that's it, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope it made you think a bit more deeply about our creativity duo. Thanks so much for watching. Please don't forget to like the video and subscribe for more Sandersites content in the future. Take it easy, guys, gals, non-binary pals, everything in between or nothing at all, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye!